The Cardinals avoid arbitration with 5 players, with only Tommy Edman remaining. We'll go through those situations. Plus, another former Cardinal signs a lucrative deal in San Francisco. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. That way you're interacting with us. Hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. Don't want to miss those, because this is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. So we've got some arbitration numbers in for the Cardinals, who were able to avoid the nasty arbitration process with 5 of their players. One of them didn't work out so well. As reported by John Denton at MLB.com, closer Ryan Helsley, new reliever Andrew Kittredge, relievers JoJo Romero and John King, plus outfielder Dylan Carlson have all come to agreements. The only one who did not, unfortunately, Tommy Edman. Now, here's what Denton said about the deals. 1 year after Ryan Helsley and the Cardinals engaged in a somewhat contentious arbitration case, ultimately won by the team, the parties avoided a repeat scenario by agreeing to a 1-year deal worth $3.8 million on Thursday, according to sources at MLB.com. Now, Dylan Carlson, who, like Helsley, was forced to battle injuries much of the 2023 season, also avoided an arbitration hearing by agreeing to a 1-year deal worth $2.35 million, according to a source. Now, Helsley is 29 years old. He missed 2.5 months of the season last year due to a right forearm strain, but he still had 14 saves, 2.45 ERA in 33 appearances. He struck out 52 batters in 36 2/3 innings. We know the impact that Ryan Helsley has on this bullpen. He is the anchor. He is the most important piece of the puzzle. I guess you could say arguably the most important piece of the puzzle, but he's a big deal out there in the pen. You know, when you've got that guy who you trust to shut it down over one inning completely, that's a big deal. That's a lot off the mind of the manager, Ollie Marmol. Carlson, a big deal as well. I think he's going to be a bigger piece of this team than you think. 4th outfielder last year, despite attempts to, beef up during the offseason. Remember, we were all talking about how many calories he was taking in each day, trying to put on some added weight, some added muscle to add to those power numbers. And like many of the Cardinals starting outfielders, he struggled with production and injuries. The ankle sprain on May 14th did much more damage than a lot of us thought. I know for me personally, I didn't realize it was going to be as bad as it was. When it happened, he hit a base hit and he just kind of tripped coming out of the batter's box. It didn't look like anything that was going to be that severe. And it ended up bothering him all season long, and he underwent season-ending surgery on that ankle in September. He has not proven that he can hit right-handed pitching at the major league level yet, but he scorches lefties, and he's going to provide defensive insurance for Walker in right field. There's going to be games where you're probably going to want to pull Jordan Walker to get a better defensive player out there. That would be Tommy Edman. He's going to also provide insurance for Tommy Edman in center. I'm sorry, it should be Dylan Carlson, who's going to be that guy that gets brought in late. He's also going to set up some insurance for Tommy Edman in center field. And let's not forget, Edman's coming off that wrist surgery, and the demands of playing center field can really take a major toll on the body. Like, if you go around the league and you look at center fielders who do the kind of things that Tommy Edman was doing in center field, where he's running into walls and he's diving for sinking line drives and stuff, those bumps take a toll on that body. So having a healthy Dylan Carlson is going to be a really important piece to the 2024 puzzle. if they are going to succeed this year. I think he's going to be a very important factor. I mean, Newbar hasn't shown the ability to stay healthy much either. So both Carlson and Burleson, and perhaps top outfield prospect Victor Scott II, could see more time on the field than we think. Andrew Kittredge, whom they just got from the Rays in exchange for Richie Palacios, is also a guy that was set to go to arbitration. They figured it out, landed a one-year deal worth $2.63 million. He was an American League All-Star in 2021 with the Rays, but he missed much of the past two seasons following Tommy John surgery on his right elbow. Appeared in 17 games in 2022, 14 regular season games, and one playoff contest last season with the Rays. And when healthy, the guy's been really, really good. I mean, you cannot argue with me that he hasn't been good when he's on the field. I know fans see the elbow injury and they see the lack of pitching over the last year, and they have some reservations about him, and rightfully so. There's nothing wrong with that. You're fine to think that way. But since 2020, his ERA plus is 178, and he's got a whip under 1. I mean, I'm a big fan of the move. We loved Richie Palacios, and he was a great piece of what was going on last year. But this is something the Cardinals really, really needed. Sure, there is risk involved, but there's almost a risk involved with any pitcher out there. I mean, there's nobody where you're just like, nope, they're perfect. There's nothing to worry about whatsoever. Pretty much everybody's got something. John King, who came over from the Rangers last year, also avoided arbitration, came over in that Montgomery Stratton deal, and he lands a one-year deal worth a little over $1 million. 1.005 is what the report was. Threw extremely well for the Cardinals last year after coming to St. Louis. 20 appearances, 1.45 ERA. Had that measly ERA plus of 306. No big deal. No big deal at all. I'm sure we're going to get some regression from that, but he was outstanding. So, I mean, who needs a closer when you got John King out there in the bullpen, right? JoJo Romero gets 1 year, $860K. He was another guy that stepped up last year, threw quite well. Dealt with a little bit of injuries last year, but nothing major. Went 4-2, 3.68 ERA. He had an ERA plus of 114. His whip 1.064, so he was good. And then there's the case of one Tommy Edman, who they were not able to come to an agreement with on a salary. So we're going to break down his entire situation. We'll be doing that next year on Locked On Cardinals. I know we come to sports to escape from some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we talk just for a minute about preparing for tough situations? Now, whether you're on extended travel, whether you're bracing for a major weather event. I know we got some very, very cold weather coming through the nation right now, specifically in St. Louis. We're going to see some negative numbers here over the next couple of days. Maybe you're limited by yet another supply shortage. You are covered when it comes to Jase Medical. Thanks to our partners at Jase Medical, they've got the life-saving antibiotics and a long list of daily medications that can be ordered in a one-year supply, even ED generics for Cialis and Viagra. Jase Medical has the Jase case. If you're not familiar with this, the Jase case, it's a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs. They've got you covered in respiratory infections, skin infections, among other things. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. And this stuff could happen to any of us at any moment. So visit jasemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It'll be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will then be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. So we're going to save you some money. We're going to get you the stuff you need. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. So go to jasemedical.com, use the offer code Locked On, and you can get $20 off your order. Once again, go to jasemedical.com, use the offer code Locked On to get $20 off your order. Be sure to check out those Jase cases available now at jasemedical.com. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Hit up Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave your comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you guys want to. Your feedback, always welcome and encouraged. Tried to reach out to as many people as I could after our last episode. We had so much feedback. A lot of people like what we were talking about. So if you missed our last episode, we had Josh Jacobs from RedbirdRants.com on there talking about everything that's been going on with the Cardinals, including that trade for Andrew Kittredge. So make sure you check it out if you missed it. Tommy Edman we all love Tommy, right? And he's become the ultimate utility player for the Cardinals. But unfortunately, he and the team were not able to come to an agreement on a one-year salary for this year. So it looks like they're headed towards arbitration. Now, John Denton from MLB.com said this about good old Tommy Two Bags in his article, put that, Gold Glove winner in 2021, utility Gold Glove finalist in each of the past two seasons. He's up for a significant raise over the $4.2 million that he earned following his fifth MLB season in 2023. He proved invaluable to the Cardinals last year, splitting time between shortstop, center field, and second base, and performing at an elite level defensively at all of them. Like, he was incredible in center field last year. President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak and manager Ali Marmol have said that they project Edman, who, again, had to go into surgery, had arthroscopic surgery on his right wrist in October, but they've got him projected as the club's opening day center fielder in 2024. Like, it blows my mind that is what has happened. I mean, I can't believe we are here, but your Gold Glove second baseman, your only other legit shortstop on the roster outside of Mason Wynn, appears to be your starting center fielder in 2024. Partly because of the wrist injury that cost him 3 weeks and bothered him down the stretch, Edman had a bit of a regression at the plate last year, hit just 248, 705 OPS. He did have 13 home runs, 47 RBIs, along with 27 stolen bases. The OPS plus 91, that's below league average. Obviously, 100 is league average, but the eye test just shows you how important Tommy Edman is to the Cardinals' plan in 2024. The numbers that they filed for, Edman filed for $6.95 million. The Cardinals offered 6.5. So it's not a huge leap of money that they are separated by, but it appears that it's something that is going to go to arbitration. Now, Jeff Jones at the Belleville News suggests that maybe an extension could actually get done. This is what he said in his recent article, that the Cardinals have taken the tactic of many other clubs and adopted what's known as the file and trial policy. After not reaching an agreement with a player, they are committed to seeing the process through to a hearing, suggesting a pending salary showdown with Edman. The exception to that policy is an agreement to a multi-year extension. Edman, who can become a free agent following the 2025 season, would seem to be a prime candidate for such a deal if the team is confident that he can maintain a strong enough performance at the plate to justify continuing to rely on his superlative and flexible defense. Now, the question that most fans have when it comes to Tommy Edman is, can he keep up the pace? Can he continue to play well defensively at all of these positions? Because he's probably going to play all three at some point. You might have him starting in center field to begin the season, but at some point he's probably going to play shortstop. If Mason Wynn, who we all think is going to be fine, we think he's fine defensively already. We think the offense will come around from what you saw in September last year. I'm not so much worried about it, but he's going to need a day off or two at some point, and that's where Tommy Edman is going to have to be your shortstop, because right now he's the only other guy you got on the roster that has actually played shortstop at a major league level. I'm sure you can try Brendan Donovan at shortstop if you need to. I don't see why that would be a problem, but right now it's only Edman sitting there. And then he's going to play some second base at some point, I'm sure. Donovan coming back from elbow surgery, Nolan Gorman. You're going to have him DHing. He's got the back issues. So Tommy Edman's going to be a big cog. Big cog. So if he ends up winning this arbitration deal, it wouldn't shock me whatsoever, because the guy is hugely important to what the Cardinals are planning to do. Now, another question that most fans have is, are the Cardinals done? Is the spending? Is there any more free agents? Any more trades going to happen? I think we all believe that the team would benefit greatly from another top of the rotation guy, but that does not seem to be a likely scenario right now. It just doesn't seem like that's where they're headed. Bullpen wise, though, they've added a ton of arms, but is there room for one more? According to Derek Gould at the Post Dispatch, they remain interested in adding a free agent reliever and kept some of those conversations going even after this past week's acquisition of Kittredge. The market has a handful of relievers still available who fit the late inning role and price point that the Cardinals are seeking. Cardinals executives, including baseball operations president John Mozeliak and team president Bill DeWitt III, have said they expect the total spending on payroll for the 40-man roster to increase from last season. Now, Gould continues here saying that estimating the salaries yet to be finalized for pre-arbitration players, the Cardinals are close to a $170 million payroll for a projected 26-man roster, 26-man opening day roster that, according to the Post-Dispatch research, that would suggest the ability to budget another bullpen addition. Now, there are still plenty of names out there. A lot of guys we've talked about right here on this show. Phil Maton, Hector Neris, David Robertson, Robert Stevenson. They're all still out there. They still haven't signed yet. Josh Hader is still out there, hasn't signed anywhere. He's not coming to St. Louis. I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying he's still out there. He still hasn't signed yet. One name that is not going to be available anymore, though, is former Cardinal Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks has signed a deal with the San Francisco Giants, and I'm going to tell you more about his deal. And apparently, he is going to try doing something with the Giants that he tried in St. Louis that didn't work out so well. I'll get you the details coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. The NFL playoffs are this weekend, Wildcard Weekend, and you can get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is easy to use. There are a lot of different ways to bet. You can go do the live same-game parlays, which are a way to really increase your winnings. If you do the parlays and they hit, boy, they add up quick. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. That's a situation where it'll show you some of the more popular bets that are going on out there. Maybe you feel like, well, I'm not so comfortable with what I'm thinking. Let's see what everybody else is thinking. You like it. Boom. You go to that Explore tab and you place your bet. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. Best way to find popular parlays is that way. And the action will get started tomorrow afternoon. This is Friday on this recording. So Saturday afternoon, Joe Flacco and the Browns and their stellar defense will be at C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, who had a surprising year this year. Cleveland's still favored by 2.5 in that one. I like Cleveland a lot. That defense is no joke, man. That defense is no joke. And Joe Flacco, he's proven that he can play well in the playoffs. He's won a ring already. So he's been playing very, very well for Cleveland. I like that one a lot. Saturday night, you got another AFC showdown with the high-flying Dolphins at the Arrowhead Stadium with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the Chiefs, who were favored by 4.5. Supposed to be one of the coldest and windiest games like ever in NFL playoff history. So it might be a tough game to throw in. Just keep that in mind. And remember, you've got prop bets for all of these games in the playoffs. I expect a shootout in Dallas with my Packers. I expect Dallas to win that game, but I expect there to be a lot of points in that one. So a lot of chances to win there. See what else you can find. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So here's what you do. You go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube, you subscribe, and you be a part of the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So the curious case of one Jordan Hicks, because Jordan Hicks, all right, we all know, young fireballer, came up with the Redbirds and appeared to finally find his comfort zone last season with the Cardinals after he had a rocky start. Remember at the beginning of the season, I was getting people who wanted the Cardinals to DFA Jordan Hicks. And I'm like, what? I was like, you don't DFA 27-year-old throws 105. What are you, an idiot? I'm glad whoever those people are not in charge of what's going on with the Cardinals. But he appeared to find that comfort zone later on in the season with the Cardinals and pitched well enough that they got a nice haul back from the Toronto Blue Jays when he moved on to Toronto at the trade deadline, and he pitched very, very well there. But apparently, he's ready to try being a starting pitcher again. Something that he did not do all that well with the Cardinals. According to reports, Hicks and the Giants have agreed to a 4-year, $44 million deal. The deal includes $2 million per year in performance bonuses based on innings pitched, per a source. And according to ESPN's Jeff Passan, Hicks is expected to join San Francisco's rotation after being used mostly as a reliever in his career. Now, Cardinals fans, when you hear that they're going to try him in the rotation, and your eyebrows probably went up just like mine. Because Hicks tried that in St. Louis. The Cardinals gave him not a long look as a starter, but they gave him some opportunities as a starter. And let's just say the results, they weren't great. They weren't great. In his career as a starter, Jordan Hicks had made 8 starts at the major league level. He's thrown 26 1/3 innings, which gives him an average of about 3 1/3 innings. Now, some of those starts, perhaps they didn't expect him to go very long. Maybe they weren't asking him to go 5-6 innings. I don't remember all 8 of them. But I can tell you this much. In those 8 starts, Jordan Hicks is 0-4, has never won a game as a starter, and has an ERA of 5.47. Not exactly the most ringing endorsement to become a starter once again. But according to Jeff Passan, they're going to try this. And he's got the tools. It's not like he stinks. It's just that it hasn't worked out well as a starter. He's been really good as a reliever. But you got to remember, he's still 27, throws as hard as anyone in the game. And as good as he was in St. Louis, he was even better after the trade deadline, after he got shipped to Toronto. He started using the sweeper more, which is, all the craze right now. Everybody's getting excited about this sweeper pitch. It's one of the reasons why Sonny Gray's numbers have gone up so well. His sweeper has been amazing. But the Jordan Hicks sweeper sits around 87 miles per hour. And that gives about breaks about a foot. As far as the horizontal break, they're saying it breaks about a foot. And then you pair that up with the 100 to 105 mile an hour fastball that Jordan Hicks possesses. That's a nasty combination. He's got the sinker that moves, what do they say, nearly 16 inches the other way. I mean, it's crazy. His sweeper produced a 59.5% whiff rate, third highest among individual pitch types with at least 50 swings against it. So the tools are there. Can he be a starter, though? San Francisco is willing to give him a chance. And when you look at that deal and you see 4 years for $44 million with the $2 million incentive boost each season when it comes to the innings pitch, if he ends up being a good starter, like that's a hell of a deal. Like you're going to pay him $13 million to get Jordan Hicks type of possibilities with the arsenal that he possesses. Not too shabby. To me, it seemed like after this year and after what he did with Toronto, that he had solidified his role as an elite closer, was what he was going to be for whomever he's ended up signing with. I thought that's where he was going to end up, but I guess that's not going to be the case, at least not at the outset of this deal. So I wish you the best of luck, Jordan Hicks. I want to see you succeed. I mean, not against the Cardinals, obviously, but going to be a starter at least for a little bit. Very interesting. The Cubs got busy over the last few days. They've signed Shota Emmenaga. I believe they introduced him either yesterday or today, but per a source, the contract that Emmenaga got from Chicago guarantees $53 million over 4 seasons, but the pact gives the pitcher and the ball club multiple paths forward. A lot of different things going on in this contract after the 2025 and 26 seasons. Chicago will have the option to extend the deal to 5 years, $80 million total. If the deal is not extended in either offseason, Emmenaga will have the right to elect free agency if he wants to. Also part of the deal, the Cubs will also have to pay a posting fee to his former team, which is just under $10 million. He'll join a staff of Justin Steele, which we know very, very good. He's always shut down the Cardinals. They got Jamison Tyon. Kyle Hendricks is still there. Will the Shota Emmenaga game, will his type of pitching, will it transition to the major league level as well as it was in Japan? That's still kind of debatable. I know our buddy Andrew Wang over at redbirdranch.com, not a huge fan. It's not that he hates Emmenaga. He just doesn't like the contract. He tweeted this earlier. I'd say the Emmenaga contract is definitely riskier than Lynn or Gibson. It's always a question if Japanese pitchers can eat innings like they do in NPB because they use 6-man rotations. Also, as a slightly above average pitcher in Japan, I don't think it's worth the risk for a 3 to 4 year deal. So I'm going to side with Andrew on this one because I don't know much about Shota Emmenaga. I can spew his numbers from Japan to you, but I don't know how he's going to look over here. And it's something that a lot of teams question, whether or not what he possesses, will it play well enough over here in the States at the major league level. So Cubbies were willing to try it. They also swung a deal with the Dodgers, acquiring a left-handed hitting infield prospect Michael Busch and reliever Yancy Almonte in exchange for Class A pitcher Jackson Ferris and outfielders Hope. Busch has been a top prospect. I actually like this deal for the Cubs because Busch has been a top prospect for a while for the Dodgers. He was number 2 at MLB Pipeline for them. I think what was the other source? Maybe ESPN had him at like number 6 in the Dodgers organization. Pipeline described him as one of the best all-around offensive prospects in the 2019 draft class, which saw the Dodgers take him 31st overall in round 1. He's now 26, 98 games last year, AAA Oklahoma City, 323, 27 home runs, 26 doubles, 90 RBIs. The dude can stick. The problem has been they didn't know where to play him in Los Angeles, whether he was going to play second, he's going to play third. But I think it's a nice acquisition for Chicago. When I saw that, I was like, wow, okay. Former Cub Marcus Stroman, he's moving on and signed a 2-year deal with the Yankees for $37 million. The Yankees also came to an agreement with new star outfielder Juan Soto on a record-setting $31 million deal to avoid arbitration. They also brought back former Cardinals first-round pick Luke Weaver. They brought him back on a 1-year deal expected to be worth $2 million. Another Cardinal, Drew Verhagen, he's headed back overseas, signing a 1-year contract with the Nippon Ham Fighters in Japan that includes a player option for a second season, according to sources. The deal for Verhagen, who posted a 3.98 ERA in 60 games with the Cardinals last year, would max out close to $8 million over the 2 seasons. So Verhagen was one of the guys that they brought over in the Cardinals signed him, and he was fine, I guess, but going to make more money over in Japan for sure, according to that source. Former Cardinals catcher Andrew Knizner also signs a deal with the Rangers, $1.825 million. So he's going to be the backup catcher for the Texas Rangers. Gets reunited with pitching coach Mike Maddox. Perhaps Jordan Montgomery will return there. We haven't heard a lot about him or Blake Snell recently on any updates on where they're going to sign anytime soon. My guess is that Montgomery would end up back in Texas. I don't know why they would sell him short after what he did for them in the playoffs last year and led them to the World Series. But there are other teams that are still involved. I mean, the Yankees are still out there for both Snell and Montgomery. So things could get very, very expensive. And maybe even Texas has a limit where they're like, not going to do that, especially after the DeGrom contract they signed last year. So, and they got Scherzer coming back. They owe him a lot of money. So we'll see what happens with Montgomery, but it doesn't appear that he's going to end up back in St. Louis at all. So that's pretty much the big headlines for what's going on right now. I know the winter warm-up is this weekend at Ballpark Village. I'm very excited to be a part of that. I haven't been to the winter warm-up in years. Like, it's been a long time. I will be there along with my mother. So if you see us roaming around, feel free to say hi. We were out last night at the Blues game on Thursday night. Jordan Kyrou coming through with the hat trick. Jordan Bennington just standing on his head last night for the upset win over the Rangers. So that was a lot of fun. Jordan Walker and his dad also in attendance for the game last night. So that was really, really cool to see. They showed him up on the big screen, up on the Jumbotron, and he got a big round of applause, him and his dad, Derek. So that was really, really cool. So looking forward to it this weekend. So Should be a lot of fun. We'll take a ton of pictures. We'll post a lot of videos throughout the next couple of days for those of you who can't make it to the warm-up to kind of give you an idea of what's going on there and experience. I know John Mozeliak is supposed to speak at 11:20 St. Louis time on Friday. So we'll be there in attendance for that. And, hopefully we get some information out of him, some useful information. Hopefully it's not a bunch of boring John Mozeliak stuff, but we'll see. We'll see. They're going to introduce Kyle Gibson tomorrow morning, finally. That's like the first thing on the agenda tomorrow. So should be an entertaining weekend at Ballpark Village. So looking forward to it. So make sure that you keep following. And if you haven't subscribed already, join us on YouTube, Twitter, X. Is where we'll be posting all of the updates and all the pictures and videos. Again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.